welcome. And fourth runner, or fourth runner up for Ghana's Most Beautiful 2020. Good morning.
Good morning.
Which one should I go with? I like the Mabil. Okay. That's your dad's name, eh?
That's my name.
Your middle name?
Yeah, it means
Mabil.
young mother.
Young mother?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Good to have you.
Good to be here too.
You could see Edu, who's a student activist, also join us much later in the conversation. But Mabil,
one of plenty portfolio. Let's take a minute to
take it in, eh?
All of it.
She has that.
Yeah. And that's how I'm going to let myself to do campaign this one day. For the position we are looking for. No,
for her.
Yeah, she's an aspirant.
Wonderful.
And it's good to have you here, and it's good to talk to you.
Good to be here and finally meeting you.
I agree.
From one queen to the other. Let me leave it to
you. Thank you. Which one of these stories making waves is one that has your full attention?
The issue of sanitary pads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I see it making a lot of wave, and it's an issue, a very sensitive one, of course, and which has to be looked at critically into. I see over last week there were women out there campaigning, and I saw the Speaker, Right Honorable Alban, had listened to them and picked their petition on. And then he is calling for a slash in the taxes that is imposed on sanitary pad, which I think it's laudable because we have a lot of women, let's not even go far, let's talk about Accra. We have a lot of women within Accra who can't even buy sanitary pads for themselves. Just, I think last month, I was buying roasted plantain by the roadside, and then there was this lady with sanitary pads, pampers, all around beside her. Then I asked her to buy Yaz, and she told me Yaz is 22 cedis.
How many are in there?
We have, it's just about, I think, 8 or 9.
8 or 9, okay.
And then she says it's 22 cedis. And then the woman screamed.
Yeah, because
she wasn't the one even buying it. She screamed, and I looked at her and laughed. I was like, Mami Adeng. And she says she can't afford 22 cedis because she doesn't even make a lot of benefits from what she's doing. And so often what she is subjected to use are tea rolls. And then she thinks the tea roll is 3 cedis, buying that is affordable. And so that's what she uses. And even with the tea roll, sometimes she has to change herself more than 5 times in a day, which is quite frustrating. Just behind my house is another girl who didn't go to school, Ayeli. So one time I called her, Ayeli, why didn't you go to school today? She told me, Auntie Talata, I don't have money to buy sanitary pad and I'm in my period. And this is a girl who often asks me money to go to school sometimes. So I sat and I was wondering, if Ayeli, even in Accra, cannot go to school or cannot afford sanitary pad, how much more the Talata or the CB in the northern region? Or in the Upper East region. And so I think this is an issue that is a bit disturbing because we are the same people preaching menstrual hygiene. And so I think if we are preaching menstrual hygiene, we have to put measures in place that will help us achieve that. Because imagine people use tea rolls. These tea rolls go through, productions. They go through processes. There are chemicals that are being used in producing those things. So imagine someone having to use that every month. Some ladies even go as far as to have their period 2 times in a month.
Yeah.
And so imagine the person having to go through that. The chemicals goes into the person. And then this is going to cause a lot of diseases. We have vaginosis, which is on the rise now, but people do not know. And if you are unable to cure all this kind of infections, they go to developing to become something much more serious. That is why we have cervical cancer even on the rise now. And so I think it's a critical thing that has to be carefully looked at, that everybody should pay attention to it. Because we have even an African country like Kenya that is practicing distribution of free sanitary products to their girls. Even Scotland is doing it now. So if a country like Kenya is doing it, why can't we do it here in Ghana?
Okay.
Yeah.
Playing the devil's advocate, if I may.
Yeah.
I was reading on this, and I understand the GRA was making an argument for the proposed taxes, saying that, it's a law, that once it's a finished product, it's a finished good, they have to charge taxes on it, and they consider on imported goods, of course, and they consider sanitary parts, imported sanitary parts, as a finished good for the consumer. So thereby, that 21.5% they're proposing, should hold. You don't agree?
I don't agree, because I asked myself, without that proposed tax, is Ghana still not going to, develop? We have lots of taxes now imposed everywhere. Even when you want to buy one bottle of Aqua Gold, you have lots of taxes imposed on that. And so what kind of impact, okay, even though it's making an impact, but I mean, what kind of a great loss is it going to make to the economy when you take out that taxes? Imagine imposing 12.5 and we have 20% VAT on that. I mean, we have to be considerate sometime, yes. If we are thinking about the importation, and that is what is informing the need to impose taxes, why can't we produce them here in this country?
Okay. So two things. Per what you read about the GRA, saying that because it's a finished product and once it's imported, they must tax, because we're also aware of people who are trying to cut down the importation of sanitary towels and thought to actually produce substitute products. These may not be exactly your idea of what a sanitary towel is, but something that mimics it. Now, they use fabrics that are, woman-friendly, the probiotics that exist over there, friendly with such product, the materials that they use. But these materials are taxed.
Yeah.
Right.
So because that's not a finished product, it comes to Ghana, and it is very much you state everything you import in this country, you have to state what you're using it for. So we know that there are materials that are going to be used for such things, and yet those are even taxed. In fact, if you look at it, that one is even taxed higher than that one. However, I also followed the vetting of the now Supreme Court Judge, Justice Tokono, and then she was asked about the sanitary towel question. I hope I'm not wrong. And then she is of the view that we cannot make it free for everybody. Let's make it free for one that cannot afford it. And the people who are the working class woman should pay for it. Yeah. Do you agree?
I agree. Looking at a country like Ghana, we can't make it free for everybody. Considering our economical state now, we can't make it free for everybody. And so I agree with the point that we make it free for that young lady or that woman who can't afford. With a working class like myself, you, and other people, we can afford 20 cedis. But if I cast my mind back to a Kayayo somewhere in Accra, thriving so hard to make, a day, money 2 cedis or 3 cedis just to feed herself and her child, such a person can't afford. It's like you are even suffocating her in addition to the stress she goes through during her menstrual period. And so I agree with Justice Tokono if she says we should tax the working class women and then provide for those who can provide.
Now that one, how are we going to do?
How realistic is that going to be? That's what I'm thinking.
It can be.
It can be, actually.
It can be.
How?
Because
we know the country we live in. You say that this is what we're going to do, and you leave it in the hands of agencies to handle, go to the rural areas. We've seen other things in this country where it was supposed to be free for a certain group of people, and you hear complaints and how people are giving it to their family members and all that. So there's no trust in the system. I want to believe that there's no trust. So what is going to be different with this one?
Okay, unfortunately, this is where we find ourselves in a country where when there's something to be shared out to the general public, we have 2 or 3 people choosing to, give it all out to their family and friends. But we still have people out there who would still choose to provide for the needy than their family and friends who can provide for themselves. Particularly, I have a foundation that works for myself. Last year, we donated about 540 food boxes to my constituency. And trust me, I did not even consider my home. Straightforward, my target was the aged and the widows. And I told my people, relax, if we share and then there is enough, we'll give you. But for the time being, our focus is on the widows and the aged. I believe that we have so many NGOs out there who are willing to give out to people who need it. These people are already reaching out to people. And so if we are able to collaborate, if the government collaborates with these agencies, these NGOs, already they are in need of stuff to, you know, donate out to people, which my queen here has a foundation herself. And so if you fish out for, you know, beauty queens with foundations, people who are already doing good out there, trust me, it will go a long way to help, because she comes from the Volta region. I am from the Upper East region. There's someone from the Northern region. If you contact all these queens from these various regions, what makes you think we can't achieve something?
But I think that the how would come if we agree on
this is what we want to
do. Now, as trivial as this may sound, did you know that the numbers accounting for teenage pregnancy, all right, very trivial reasons, but a young girl who cannot afford towel is deceived by a man who says that, you know what, I have a solution that when I give you the solution, you don't have to buy towel in every month. There's something I'll give you that, as innocent and ignorant that they are, they're buying to it, and so they abuse of it, and you realize that because of sanitary towel, we have unwanted pregnancies happening, and it is. See, every country wants to task the most usable product so that they can make money. So we really understand. We can't scrap it entirely, but there has to be some middle ground to this conversation.
You know, MFA, and me, my district, okay, between the Tongo district and Navdam district, in fact, there's a challenge ongoing. It's been a challenge since. And the challenge is between which districts rates the highest teenage pregnancy. Yes, and that is our challenge.
That's an achievement.
It's an achievement, and everybody's. I mean, it's not a sweet achievement. It's not something we should be happy about, but it is something that is happening. And you know, my foundation actually we shot a documentary, okay, with about 3 girls. One girl says she doesn't want to go to school. She wants to marry. And you know who she wants to get married to? An JHS graduate who is awaiting SHS posting.
Oh, right.
She wants to get married to that person. The other person was married to a pastor in Boga. She was deceived she would go to school, but she went there and she realized this is what was up. She came back to the village. Now she's the senior girls prefect. Now the last girl, she is pregnant in JHS2. And the issue is that she gets 1 cedi from her auntie to school all the time. And there's a gentleman in her class who gives her 5 cedis because that little gentleman is into mining, small-scale mining. And so that guy is able to give her 5 cedis. And that 5 cedis is used to buy her basic needs like sanitary pads, pencils, and food. And so in return of that favor, she has to give the guy sex.
The political economy of womanness and womanhood.
Exactly.
Very interesting.
And then she has to give the boy sex in return. Now the girl is pregnant. The family of the guy are not ready to take care of her. Then finally when they even accepted, she's unable to feed properly. She's not eating healthy. 2, she still gets that 1 cedi to school. From the auntie. And now she doesn't get it from the guy anymore because the guy feels she's pregnant and, you know.
Well, he must move on to the next girl.
Exactly.
Anyway.
And so this is something which is really disturbing. And the girl is somebody who wants to go to school. And she says, even in the pregnancy, I'll still go to... She sits in class. I don't know if you understand.
I totally do.
Yes.
I think when it comes to this topic, we can all agree. I think we have one voice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're all calling on the government to find a way around this. Because we all have sisters, we all have mothers, we all have friends.
Which one would you like us to go to? Would you like us to talk about the licensure examination? Or because tomorrow is the elections, the by-elections. Maybe we touch the by-elections. Okay. You may know the backstory about the Asen North constituency. Such a constituency that has a highlight on it because the name has been expanded. Well, I don't even know whether Parliament has followed through with the expansion of the name, but you know the story that the Supreme Court held already, that at the time that he filed and wanted to be elected as Member of Parliament, he was not eligible. If you want to know the eligibility of a person who can go and contest, you might want to look at Article 94 of the Constitution, then you have an idea of it. So that is settled. However, he has about 7 days, I started counting about last week, 7 days to go for review. When the Supreme Court gives a ruling and you're quite unsatisfied, which is not the very easy route, you can go for a review. And reviews are very, very technical and requires very meticulous way because this is you telling the Supreme Court that you made a mistake. And the Supreme Court will ordinarily not make a mistake. So this is the background. So once he's been freed and he's not a member of parliament, he's just a regular citizen who can exercise his right to want to contest. Now, there's a background that he's being charged with criminal charges, forgery, deceit of public officer, and all of that. And all of these will give rise from the documentation provided at the time that you were filing for your nomination to be elected as member of parliament. Now, where we are now is by-election. People have said that this election would seem to give us a clarity of how 2024 looks. Two things. Are people going to vote based on sympathy? Are people going to vote a man that is suspected to be going to jail in waiting?
Yeah.
If these criminal charges follow through, would a citizen exercise their rights for somebody that they are not too sure? What is really the real outcome? What do you think is the real outcome of tomorrow's election?
MFR, with this issue of not by elections, okay. Yes, Honorable Kwesi has been charged with criminal offences, which we are all aware that the Constitution speaks about dual citizenship, that if you have dual citizenship, you can't hold any key office in the country. But I feel that the EC could have done better in his situation by facilitating, the whole issue for us not to even get to this point, which I am sure that Honorable Kwesi is aware that he is strongly offended because he could have provided all this documentation. Let's not go too far. We all know Ghana here. We all know Ashanti region is a very strong NPP, constituent or stronghold. And we all know Asen North is a very strong NDC.
People have said it's quite a swing one too.
Yes, it's a swing. But we know that this is where the NDC leads
they are
almost all the time. Exactly. Okay. And so with what is happening to him back and forth at the court and all that, I feel that this would even have a great impact on him because it's going to drain him. Imagine going back and forth. You have elections, you have to go back and forth. You are not there when people are even campaigning on your behalf and all that. To some other people, yes, he deserves what he's going through. But to some other people, he may win their vote because of sympathy, because people would ask, what did the EC do about it from the onset? Why are you now putting the man through that stress when it is time for by-elections?
Okay, so is the criminal charges, are they for the current documentations?
No.
They are for the time, because if you have if you own a passport now, we're trying to understand how you arrive at owning the passport which you gain. So that will be subjected to the criminal proceedings. We want to know how eligible. Now, we're even asking the question now that the outcome of this election, people have said that will be a bigger reflection of what the economy or what the politics will be in 2024.
Okay.
Is that the real case? Because this one has a peculiar reason. If nothing happened, right, and God forbid, like what happened in Kumewu, and it was not bordered on criminality, it was not bordered on any back and forth, and it was a pure by-election where people are going to have an opportunity to vote again, and there was an outcome, then would say that it is a reflection of what will happen in 2024. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
But this time around, the variables are quite different, where it is a passing, criminal charges, a back and forth. If the NPP wins today, tomorrow actually, if the NPP wins that seat tomorrow, will we all agree that the people of Asin North really, really wanted to vote for the NPP, and that in 2024, it is a reflection of how the elections will go?
It's going to be. That's
If the NDC also won today, would it still be a reflection of how 2024, minusing sympathy?
I think the by-election definitely has a reflection on 2024 elections.
Okay.
Because looking at what is happening currently, should people vote in favor of the MPP, it means that people currently are, are happy with how the MPP is currently running the country, meaning that they believe strongly in the MPP's, the MPP's intention or ambition for the country in years to come.
Right.
If the
right.
NDC wins too, it means that people are not happy and they want a change in government. Or it means that probably because of what the man has gone through, sympathy has gotten people, to vote in his favor.
You know that he won by 3,000
Exactly.
before.
Small margin, huh?
No, quite impressive margin.
Oh,
it's a very
huge.
impressive one. However, it also borders on the part of the town in that constituency where he comes from, which and that's quite a large, a highly populated part of the town as part of the constituency. And if you come from that place, it's only you know how we add our tribes and religions in terms of voting here. Now the MPP has presented a candidate from that
same
place.
They are both indigenous.
Yeah. If he wins, if still the NPP wins the seat, which I guess will be, if he won 3,000 PMB from just that particular town, if he wins by half of that, because now he has to split the vote with the person that is coming back from there, would it still be a reflection of a real win?
So I think it will be a reflection of, it will be a reflection of a real win, because it means that people of Asin North prefer to have someone, a native, rule over them. That means that Honorable Charles definitely has, an influence on his people, and probably would, pull a lot of people for his. I saw a video of a gentleman hailing Alain Chomantin and saying that he was in an NDC cap and says,
Yeah.
that kind of a thing. So it means that probably people are waiting for the MPP to present their own, so they support. And in this case, if he should win, it means that same support is going to go for the MPP. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I do.
So it means that they need people of their own to rule over them. And so if he wins right now, that impact is going to also...
The other person is also their own. He's from them.
Exactly, which is making it much competitive now. Which already, I know Honorable Charles has an NGO which is strongly impacted the community a lot.
You mean the candidate that
the MPP has presented? He has a foundation that is really touching lives there. And so this makes it much more competitive because Honorable Kwesen is somebody who is loved by his people because of the good works he's doing for them. And then here on the other hand too, this person is also loved by his people because of the same good works he does for them. Makes it a bit competitive. Notwithstanding the fact that this is an NDC stronghold.
As it stands.
As it stands now.
Yeah, because if he won by 3,000, you guys say it's impressive, then it is more NDC.
Exactly.
We can confidently say that it's their seat.
Do you think they will vote based on the last 3 years? I mean, he hasn't really functioned, has he? Has the place really functioned?
Actually, that's massive construction
ongoing, yeah.
So to be honest with you, honestly, I think Kwesen stands a higher chance of winning again. Because I realized that even in the last elections, people were not voting so much based on political party. They're voting based on personalities. He has done something for us. We want this person. Because you've seen people lose their seats after first term because they don't want you because you didn't do anything.
Exactly.
So if Kwesen has really done a good job there, and he won by 3,000, I'm just using these dynamics, and he won by that quite impressive margin. There's little this can do. This double citizenship thing can do to affect him.
If there's massive development going on in Asin North today, who will we give the credit to? The MP who is no longer MP, or the sitting government? Because the MP is NDC, and for developmental things happening in the constituency.
We give credit to both of them because if the MP, the MP is the catalyst between his people and the government. And so if the MP does not communicate to the government, how will the government? Because the government has a lot of things going on right now for him. I don't think the government can sit in his comfort zone or sit in his office and then just magically get to know Asin North. The people of Asin North need good roads. And so if the MP does not send the concerns and problems of the people to the government won't know what is going on.
Who do you think will win tomorrow?
For me, let's see what tomorrow holds, because right now, I don't want to take side, but it's a bit competitive right now. But let's hold on to the fact that MDC is a stronghold. The place is an NDC stronghold, and so I am very sure that
the stronghold and the sitting government
and the sitting government.
The sitting government has influence.
The sitting government has influence, but don't forget that even before the government gets there, it is the MP that has to tell his people, look, I am taking your problems to the MP for them to resolve. Because when they need something, they don't go to the government. Yes, when they need something, they don't go to the government.
We know that governments usually don't focus on areas that are not their strong.
Right now, if somebody needs school fees, whose room or house do they?
If I come to tell you that, you see this person you're voting for, he helps you to pay your fees, but it's very likely that next year he'll go to jail because of criminal charges. And I'm still a student and I want continuity of my fees.
I don't think as a people we think so much into that unless.
So this is not it's not a national contest. It's very situated.
True.
And it matters, and they're voting for the person, as you've said. They like the person.
I think the MPP can only win with propaganda. I think they can only win with propaganda. Yes, if they can only win by propaganda if they keep drumming it into their ears that it's not just he will go to prison, he's a criminal. Like when you create that tag,
this issue of this criminal charges imposed on him. I asked myself, Emefa, instead of having a by-election for two parties, we both know that the current MP sitting is an NDC member. Instead of holding by-elections for the two parties, why don't we rather hold elections for the incumbent party? I don't know if you understand.
That's what the laws come. I don't know the legality.
People have called for this.
Exactly, because a lot is going into it.
But apparently, if you look at who becomes your member of parliament, because you're going to be representing all of them, not just your party. The person, they don't vote for the party, they vote for the person. A member of parliament is voted for. Yeah. So it matters that you give an opportunity to all of them to agree that we like this person.
I guess it will have
but I am taking it for a point of, trying to, cut down the cost and the process involved.
And then when it comes to representation in parliament and people, you realize that cost is no longer what will matter. It matters who says, did I choose you? Did I vote for you? Exactly. So I asked this question, when a by-election is happening, who are we voting for, the party or the person? And I had a straightaway answer, the person. And if it's the person, it must be subjected to the entire constituency.
Exactly.
Anyway, it is, I like the essential examination.
But before that, usually when something happens in the country, we have bloggers, trying to put our stuff on social media just to make benefit and all that. I would urge that with the ongoing elections, people do not put out, headlines that would put fear into people or will feel that their people there are not safe or secured. Yeah. I see bloggers posting an NDC or MPP vehicle crash with campaign and all
already.
That. I mean, it puts fear into people. So I'll urge that with issues like that, we should rather all hope for, a peaceful election, that we won't have any casualty anywhere, that this will end up well, rather than putting out headlines that would put fear into people.
I don't know how we became a people of a country or a people that is quite sensational, the feet on headlines than content. I don't know how we arrived there, but honestly, we really get better. For instance, the topic we're going to go to, it's difficult to talk about the bullion because there's somebody still mourning and all of that. It will take you back to 2019, the fatalities that have happened and all. So I tried to see if we keep in the background and go to the essential exams. Give me your overall comment.
As a student and an aspirant for NUC Secretary for Women's Development, I have a particular interest in that. And with the issue of the licensure exam, like I said, issues of bloggers putting out informations out there, they should always have their informations right. Apparently, even the number of students who failed that they put out there is more than the actual number of people who failed. And it is not only the people who are currently taking their exams. We have some people who are previously taking and then are resitting. And so when we are putting information out there, we should be very specific. We should make sure that this is, an actual accurate information we are putting out there. I don't know if you understand. With that particular issue, now I ask myself, where will we all be today without teachers? Nowhere. But I have a friend, we are hosting a program tomorrow, and he posted he's on there. He's a teacher. He's even part of the tag officers. And then he didn't even put it on the flyer, he's a teacher. And his people started coming at him. Why didn't you write teacher? In fact, next time write teacher. Do you get it? And then somebody also posted another comment. Don't mind them, if you write teacher, people will not respect you.
Interesting.
And I ask myself, these are people who make us who we are today. These are people who even teach our president, our doctors, our lawyers, our pastors. Without teachers, where would we be? We even have people who are skilled, but they still need a learning process. And this learning process needs teachers to take us through. But this is a field that we do not even focus much or give them much attention. We have teacher training schools all over. You go to some teacher training schools and you see their facilities and it is disturbing, MFA. They don't have the right, they don't have the right facilities. They don't have enough personnel to, guide them. They don't have adequate, staff needed to aid the smooth process of, whatever they are going through. Meanwhile, this is somebody who will teach your children. This is somebody who will still teach me. This is somebody who will teach my children's children. And so if we don't give them we don't give them adequate facilities, we don't give them, enough personnel that will help them through the process, how then do they come out to support us?
Well, I don't know if you would side with the school of thought that says that, well, bad as it may look, but this being the highest failure in the exams ever in our history, it's also good because then I've had a few people, I know some people who said they've read some of the document, the examination questions and answer responses, and they don't think that the kind of responses they read and saw, these people should be allowed to teach our students. If you want to provide quality education, quality training for our young ones, then nobody can just get up and say, I want to be a teacher. If you don't pass, you don't pass. So perhaps I'm just saying the school of thought that says that perhaps it's a good one. Like a lot of people always say when they feel the law student or those who are applying for law school in mass, people say that they are preventing people from being lawyers in the country, but people are saying that no, we want higher standards, so they don't meet the required whatever, and so they can't be allowed in.
The
so
licensure exams is actually a good one. It's a very good one because you want to be a teacher. You are going to train
the
people
next generation
who come in, the next generation who actually take control.
I mean, how do I
countries.
finish training school 10 years later before you want to offer me license?
Do you get it?
Why is it not part of the training? By the time I'm coming out, I'm a licensed. Imagine a doctor is practicing before they come to say that
you get your license.
So I was even having an argument with a friend. I was telling, look, if I were part of the heads could actually stakeholders who could actually make decisions for them, I would rather agree that after every level there is a trial for them to justify whether you qualify to move to the next
control
exactly to justify whether you are qualified enough to move to the next stage. If not, you stay there.
Well,
I don't know if you understand,
totally.
but with people who screenshot the licensure exams out, I mean, I would really
totally wrong.
It's totally wrong because
wrong.
What is the confidentiality? What's the confidentiality?
Because if I'm not okay with my grade, I can go and seek a remark, and I just might score lower or higher.
Why then do you put it out? Imagine someone knows my name and I have my name at the back of the paper and I've completely failed.
But that's right.
How will people believe in me? Even when immediately I appear, look, I'll become.
I just think that it is a reflection of what has happened in our teacher training colleges or teacher training institutions. It is a reflection. With something something went wrong there for a person to want to fail woefully like this. But anyway.
But I think we have them all to be, all of us to be judged or blamed because you are not even practicing your ethics, your professional ethics.
I hear teacher is a calling.
It is a calling, if I've taught before.
I like the way she said
it is a calling, I've taught before.
Where did you teach?
I taught a school in Katamanso district.
Why did you teach?
When I completed SHS, my friends were going to school. And by then our results were not out. But staying at home was a bit difficult because I've been someone who's always want to be out.
No, my sister is
but then our results was not out. So I told my mother I'm going to look for a job. Everybody was not in agreement because I was young and I'm a copy. In fact, my first week in school, I came back home to stay home for 2 days because I felt sick. In fact, I keep quiet and I don't like what you are. And you can't beat them because government says you can't beat them.
So somebody like this, okay, well, this is a secured area. Let me go into the security of payments and all of that. I mean, a lot can be said about this.
And the children are stubborn too. They're very stubborn. Very. One boy's father brought him to me saying, he said, look, I have controlled my son in the house for a long time, and he's not controlling. Is not controlling.
But at that time, you were just some 17-year-old.
Exactly. And I looked at the boy and looked at the father.
And you are the anchor.
In fact, let me hold on because that boy was so stubborn. There's nothing you do to that boy for him.
When is the elections coming up?
The elections is Congress is starting on the 6th of July. So Congress election is definitely going to be on the 9th of July because Congress is ending on the 9th. Yeah, UCC.
Are we winning?
Yes, of course. I'm optimistic.
What's your one selling point?
So a solid point is that look. Let's not focus our attention on people with connection and people with available resource made to them by people who think they can make kings. Let's focus on the competent people. This is something that has gone a long way to affect us even as a country. We ignore the competent people and focus on people that they feel she's resourceful and can do it. Trust me, even most of the resourceful people hold positions and don't do anything. They rather contract people to do, and they don't even get proper results. Why don't we give that power? Why don't we give that legitimacy to somebody who has been there, somebody who has been through the process, somebody who has grown through the ranks and can do the job to do it? And so I would plead with all my people out there, all students within Ghana and abroad to help me make this a reality, because without them I can't make it. Come Congress, we are hoping to make a very huge impact, and we are hoping that they vote for me to win the elections, because we have much in store to continue what the current administration is already doing. Okay. And a very big thank you to the current administration, the GDA-led administration, because they've done so well. And then all the best to all contestants as well. I'm wishing them all the very best.
Wish you best.
We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I trust and believe that you would win.
Definitely.
Okay? Accountability partner. We'll insist on the right thing, so please vote for her. But thank you so much. Iceberg brought in his comment. Let me read quickly before we bring you the plug. Now, good morning, Gordon NMFI. How about our policy makers begin thinking outside the box about this menstrual pad issues? If we consider the giving allowance to teacher and nursing trainees, why can't policy makers distribute sanitary pads to female students as a starter? I am a teacher at a village, and it's disheartening to know how often some of my female students absent themselves because they are in their time of the month. This is Iceberg. Iceberg, a message with an idea. Today I didn't see your DDO, and I hope you're well. And thank you for sharing your comments on the topics that we reviewed here on Lifestyle Daily. Thank you, Sandra, and a pleasure to meet you. All the best. Okay?
All the best to you too.
Guys, Mr. Dumbo.
Yes, ma'am, we're done. Lifestyle Daily. Up next, we have the plug. Please stay.